All right, so you're probably here because you want the lowdown on the Keller real estate scene, specifically that 76248 zip code, right?
Exactly.
Well, let's get straight to it. We're going deep today looking at a real-time market profile. This was pulled Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025.
And this is solid stuff. It comes straight from Glenn Wegner. He's the broker and owner of Lone Star Realty right there in Keller.
Right.
And, his background is pretty interesting. He spent, 27 years as a combat aviator logistician.
Strategic planner, too.
Yeah. And you got to figure that kind of experience, well, it probably means he's got a very detailed way of looking at the market, very analytical.
Makes sense. So our mission basically is to take this detailed report from Glenn and just pull out the most important bits for you, give you a really clear picture of what's actually going on in Keller right now.
Let's do it.
Okay, so where do we start? What are the big numbers that jump out?
Well, the first one, the median list price, it's kind of hefty, $752,450.
Okay, $752K. Is that the whole story?
Not quite, because look at this. The median price for new listings is actually a bit lower. It's $679,000.
Huh. So newer stuff coming on is priced a little less aggressively, maybe?
Could be. And the price per square foot is averaging $232.
Okay, so $232 a foot. Now, what about speed? How fast are homes selling? I saw something about average versus median days on market.
Yeah, that's a really good point to pick up on. The average days on market, it's up there at 68 days.
68. Feels a little long.
But look at the median. It's just 28 days.
Only 28? Wow, okay. So what does that gap tell us?
Well, it usually means, that while some homes might be taking quite a while to sell, maybe they're overpriced, maybe need work, a good chunk of the market is still moving pretty fast. Almost half the homes are selling in under a month.
Right, so those longer ones are pulling the average up significantly. Got it.
Exactly.
Now, price adjustments. It looked like quite a few sellers are dropping their price.
That definitely caught my eye, too. We're seeing 38% of listings. Yeah, 38% have had a price decrease.
38%? That's substantial.
It is. And compare that to 0% price increases and only 2% being relisted.
So nobody's really bumping prices up, mostly down. What's the takeaway there for, say, a buyer?
Well, it could signal, maybe a bit more negotiation power for buyers than you might think, just looking at the overall market type. It suggests some sellers might have aimed a bit high initially and are now adjusting to meet the market.
Okay, that's a really key detail. Good insight. Now, inventory. If I'm looking to buy, what's actually out there? How many houses are we talking about?
Right now, the count is 82 single-family homes available.
82.
82. And just for context, the median rent in that area is around $3,450 a month.
Okay, so 82 homes. And that leads us to maybe the most important single number in the report, the Market Action Index.
Yes, the MAI. It's currently sitting at 46.
And the report classifies 46 as a strong seller's market. Can you unpack that index a bit? What does it actually measure?
Absolutely. Think of the MAI like a market thermometer.
Yeah.
It's basically measuring the rate of sales versus the current inventory, how fast things are selling compared to how much is available.
Okay.
So generally, anything over 30 is considered a seller's market, meaning demand is outpacing supply. So 46, yeah, that's definitely strong territory for sellers. Buyers face more competition.
Got it. Strong seller's market. But how does that 46 compare to, like, last month? Is it getting hotter or cooling off?
Well, here's the interesting part. It's exactly the same as last month. Still 46.
Oh, so stable.
Yeah, it suggests things have kind of leveled off, reached a bit of an equilibrium, at least for the moment.
And Glenn Wegner, the broker who provided the report, he actually commented on that stability, didn't he?
He did, yeah. His report specifically mentions, let me find the quote here.
Okay.
In the last few weeks, the market has achieved a relative stasis point in terms of sales to inventory.
Stasis point. Okay, so balanced for now.
Exactly, that balance between sales and what's available.
But wait, if it's stable, why is it still called a strong seller's market? Why do sellers still have the edge?
Because of that inventory number we mentioned. 82 homes, still quite low overall.
Right.
And Glenn points this out too. He says, however, inventory is sufficiently low to keep us in the seller's market zone. So even with that stasis, the underlying lack of enough homes means sellers generally still hold more cards.
Okay, that makes sense. Low supply is the key factor keeping sellers in charge, despite the pace leveling off. So for anyone listening, buyer or seller, what should they be watching going forward?
Well, Glenn gives some direct advice here. He says, basically, watch changes in the MAI. Because if the market heats up, prices are likely to resume an upward climb.
So keep an eye on that index. If it starts ticking up from 46, that could mean prices start rising again, and it gets even tougher for buyers.
Precisely. That stability might not last.
Okay, now this report does something really useful. It doesn't just give averages. It breaks the market down into price segments, right?
Yeah, it divides the market into roughly 4 equal parts based on price,
Yeah,
which is great because, the experience can be really different depending on your price point.
totally. So let's walk through those segments. Let's start at the very top, around $1.2 million.
Right. So in that highest bracket, the median price is indeed $1,200,000.
Okay.
And for that, you're typically getting a pretty large house. Median square footage is 4,631.
Wow.
Usually on a bigger lot, too, like half an acre to a full acre. Typically 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, and the median age is around 18 years old.
All right. What about activity in that segment? New listings, sales.
This is interesting. There were 3 new listings in this top tier, but 0 absorbed listings.
0, meaning nothing went under contract or sold in that price range during this period.
Exactly. 0 absorbed. And the median days on market for what is listed is 28 days.
Huh. 0 sales is notable. What might that suggest? Buyers being picky up there, maybe a bit too much inventory right at the very top.
Could be either or both. It certainly suggests that if you're selling in that luxury range, you need patience, and the home probably needs to be spot on. Buyers aren't rushing.
Good point. Okay, let's move down a notch. The next segment, median price around $862,000.
Yeah, $862,499 is the median there. Homes are still quite large, median 3,851 square feet.
Still big.
The lot sizes are a bit smaller, maybe a quarter to half an acre, usually 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and slightly older, median age of 21 years.
And the activity,
Yeah.
different from the top tier.
Oh, yeah. Much more movement here. There were 5 new listings, but importantly, 3 absorbed listings, so homes are selling. And faster, too, the median days on market is just 17.
17 days. Okay, so that $800K range seems significantly hotter than the $1.2 million plus range right now.
Definitely looks that way from the snapshot.
All right, third segment down. Median price around $625,000.
Correct. $625,000 median. Now we're looking at a median square footage of 2,829. Lot size is typically in that 8,000 to 10,000 square foot range. Usually 4 bedrooms, maybe 2.5 baths, and the median age creeps up a bit more to 28 years.
And the sales activity here.
Pretty busy. There were 10 new listings in this segment and 6 absorbed listings.
10 new, 6 absorbed. That's solid turnover. Days on market.
Also pretty quick. Median is 21 days, so this looks like a real sweet spot in the market. Lots of activity.
Yeah, seems like it. Okay, finally, let's hit the lowest price segment identified in the report. Around $400,000 median.
That's the one. Median price, $400,000. The homes are smaller. Median, 1,819 square feet.
Okay.
Lot size, similar to the last segment, 8,000 to 10,000 square feet. Typically 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. And these are the oldest homes, generally, with a median age of 39 years.
And activity. New listings, absorbed listings.
Here we saw 3 new listings come on and 2 get absorbed.
3 new, 2 absorbed.
Okay.
And days on market.
Bit longer here. Median days on market is 49.
49 days. So slower than those middle segments, but faster than the overall average we talked about earlier.
Right. It might suggest, buyers in this range might be taking a little more time, maybe more budget conscious, perhaps slightly less competitive pressure than in those mid-ranges.
Okay, so looking across all 4 segments, you definitely see patterns. Price goes down, size generally goes down, age generally goes up.
Yep. Pretty standard relationship there.
And it really seems like those middle 2 segments, say the $600 and $900 range roughly, that's where things are moving fastest.
That's what the data suggests for this period, absolutely. And the absorption rate, the rate homes are actually selling, generally picked up as you went from the very top down, with that $1 2-matter plus tier being the big exception, with 0 sales.
Fascinating breakdown. Okay, so let's try and summarize the key things we've learned from this deep dive into Keller's 76248 market as of late April 2025.
Well, first off, the market action index clearly says strong sellers market.
Yeah.
46.
Right. But interestingly, that index is stable compared to last month. It's hit a kind of stasis.
Correct. But that stasis doesn't mean it's easy for buyers, because inventory is still really low, only 82 homes. That low inventory keeps sellers in the driver's seat.
And we also saw a pretty high number of price reductions, 38%. That suggests some sellers are having to adjust their pricing downwards.
Yeah, that's a key nuance. And breaking it down by price segment really highlights where the most activity is. Those mid-range price points seem to be moving quickest right now.
Definitely. And this incredibly detailed picture, we have to remember, comes courtesy of that report from Glenn Wegner at Lone Star Realty.
Absolutely. His analysis provides a really valuable perspective on these dynamics. You can tell he digs into the details.
No doubt. So it seems obvious, but if you are thinking about buying or maybe selling a home in Keller TX, we'd strongly suggest reaching out to Glenn Wegner and his team over at Lone Star Realty.
For sure. They can give you that tailored advice, based on your specific house or what you're looking for.
And hey, if you happen to be a real estate agent yourself, maybe experienced or even newer, and you're interested in Glenn's brokerage, his approach, well, you should probably give them a call too.
Good point. Always good to connect with knowledgeable brokers.
Okay, this was really illuminating. Lots of good data there.
Definitely painted a clear picture of the current situation.
It did, and maybe it leaves us, and you the listener, with something to think about. Given everything we just discussed, the seller's market, the low inventory, the price drops, the segment differences, what strategies do you think are actually working best for buyers in Keller right now? And on the flip side, what should sellers be doing proactively to really make the most of this market?